Hello, welcome back. This is Phil at the Laptop Trader channel on YouTube. Welcome back to the community. Again, here to share my experience and give back one video at a time. Good luck. My email contacts laptoptraderphil@gmail.com. Caution: most stock traders lose money. Please protect yourself at all times. Nothing discussed is trading or investing advice. This channel is for information purposes only. I just want to cover quickly a quick overview of the latest market action. Let's go first to these, what I call the Super 8 stocks. Okay, so these were market leaders, some of the largest companies in the world. You can see Microsoft is in a downtrend overall. Just made a gap down today, made a low, almost a new low. Okay, so weakness there. Amazon, gap down, closed down today, new low, downtrend. Google in a downtrend, gap down, closed down, new low. Nvidia, the largest semiconductor stock, gap down, new low in a downtrend. Meta in a downtrend, another gap down, new low on a lot of increased volume. I think people were thinking Meta was going to go up yesterday and today, and it actually gapped down. Netflix, more of a sideways trend, kind of holding its own, arguably the strongest of these top 8 companies, top 7 companies. But sometimes market pressures can do funny things to even good companies, so I would use caution if I own any Netflix right now. Tesla, a little bit of relative strength over the past couple weeks, but still in a more of a bottoming pattern, so still trading below the longer term and medium term moving average, so I would still be cautious about going long in Tesla at this time. And finally, Apple, very weak, another gap down, closed down on volume, so still in a downtrend. And finally, Bitcoin, in a downtrend. It's not a severe downtrend, but it's such an expensive stock or expensive currency that I would stay away for the moment. So that's it for our major stocks. So remember, these are market leaders, the largest leading companies in the market. And so those are showing a lot of weakness right now. So now let's go to just a basic ETF list. And most every ETF, most every industry, and most every sector is also showing a lot of weakness right now. Okay. Again, Bitcoin, S&P 500 in a downtrend, gap down, new low today. NASDAQ, gap down, new low today, so still in a downtrend. Same with the equally weighted stocks in the NASDAQ, new low today. Russell 2000 IWM, still in a downtrend, another gap down, new low today. Dow Industrials, same thing, downtrend, new low today. Transportation Index, IYT, gap down, large range expansion bar today, new low. So there's weakness in all major sectors and the major stocks, right? We also have the fear index, the VIX, showing it increased volatility, high volatility at 30. That would be relatively high volatility. Okay, so that's fear is in the market. Mid caps, same picture. Small caps, same picture, downtrend, new low today. Now let's get to a few sectors. So the energy sector, which had been showing some resilience, basically in a big sideways range, today, large gap down, closed down almost 8%. So even energy is starting to sell off. Financials, same picture, gap down today. Consumer discretionary, again in a downtrend, new low today. Healthcare, which is a defensive sector, is in a big sideways range at the time. It had a gap down today, did not make a new low, but still kind of weak. Technology, same picture, new low today in a downtrend. Utilities have shown a little bit of strength in basically a giant sideways trend. Again, industrial ETF, same picture, new low, downtrend. Materials, still in a downtrend, new low today. Communications, same picture, new low today. And consumer staples is holding up. So a little bit of relative strength right now in consumer staples. So this was in an uptrend. Then early March, it sold off, went sideways, and has now kind of popped back up. So this is setting up to potentially go higher in consumer staples, which is, again, is a defensive sector. Finally, real estate in big sideways trend, a potential new downtrend. If that breaks these lows here under 40 and a half, for sure under 40, you're going to see real estate also go into a downtrend. So not a good looking day for real estate, which had been showing a little bit of strength. The dollar index is going down. Interest rates are going down. Let's see if I can show you this. This 10-year interest rate's going down to 4. So that's down about a point from over a year ago when it was at about 5. So that is somewhat of a positive. The interest rates are coming down. Makes money cheaper, easier to borrow, not easier to borrow, but less expensive to borrow. And so that could be good for consumers, homeowners, and businesses. Bonds, this ETF on bonds is starting to go up out of this sideways trend, but that's not the best looking picture either. So what is actually working right now? Well, retail in a downtrend, semiconductors in a downtrend, biotech stocks in general in a downtrend, banking in a downtrend. But for some reason, insurance is in this slight uptrend. So insurance stocks, and I'll show you these in a minute, insurance stocks have shown a lot of relative strength in the last month. Blockchain stocks kind of in a downtrend, marijuana stocks in a downtrend. Latin America is showing a little bit of relative strength. This is a Latin America ETF. The ETF for Brazil, a little bit of relative strength. Argentina ETF starting to break down. So even though today was green, that's still in a slight downtrend. IBD 50 stocks in a downtrend. Even oil services, gap down, closed down today. Growth stocks and downtrend. Oil, kind of in a sideways trend. Natural gas shows a little bit of relative strength. Internet stocks in a downtrend. Software, downtrend. Home builders, downtrend. What else? Future mobility stocks, these electric vehicle stocks in a downtrend. Pharmaceuticals, downtrend. Solar stocks in a downtrend. Travel stocks in a downtrend. Same with cloud computing. Then we've got, where's that one I want to show you guys? Okay, gold miners, an area of relative strength. So there's two areas I see of relative strength right now. Insurance stocks, gold in general. But even silver is not that strong. Okay. If it pops up, it's not going to come up. Copper, weakness. Corn, kind of in a bottoming pattern. USO oil, gap down today. Okay. Oil and gas exploration, right? Nasty gap down today. This agriculture fund is showing a little bit of strength. And that shows weakness. That's weak. And another one new low. So really there's only a few areas showing some strength. And I'll show you one more thing about relative strength and weakness. If we go to this page, stocks page, we can go to what's called a heat map. So here's an industry heat map. This is kind of interesting to look at too. So we can see gold and mining is at the top of the heat map. Schools, utilities, ETFs, currencies, and precious metals, top 5. Below that, even utilities here, it looks like the electric power utilities are going negative. Most everything on the heat map is going negative, right? So this is a pretty interesting thing to look at. At the bottom of the heat map, we've got retail, autos and trucks, finance, investment brokers, oil field machinery, semiconductors, transportation, banks, computer networks, and transportation equipment, all at the bottom of this heat map. So all your growth areas are down here, right? And your defensive areas are doing better. Okay, like utilities, medical, oil. When you've got the sectors of the bottom 100 stocks towards the top of the heat map, that's not a very positive environment to be going long on most stocks. However, let's now look at some stuff in my portfolio. I've actually done okay over the last month because I've switched to some of these other stocks, some of these other areas. So when I go to this and we look at the this market weakness overall, we only have a few areas to invest in, then that's the areas we should go to. So that's a cannabis stock, not doing much. This is like a retail stock, not doing very good. Right here's a marijuana ETF, not doing very good. This is like a mortgage company, just sideways. Here's a real estate stock that tanked today, right? Gap down, closed down. So real estate is under pressure. UPS, I think it's the largest transportation company. Gap down, closed down today, 9%. So kind of leading the market lower. UPS not doing good. Pfizer, major healthcare company, another one closed at a new low today. So we don't want to go long on stocks that are making new lows. That's a kind of a hard and fast rule in trading individual stocks. NASDAQ company, gap down, closed down today. Here's one that's showing a lot of relative strength. Okay, Cardinal Health, healthcare company, large cap healthcare company. Nice uptrend in March, right? So that's one I'm in. It's not the best time to get in right now, but definitely just made a new high today with a bottoming tail and a red bar. So I would wait to see if this consolidates a little more, maybe pulls back towards this 132, 133 area. Would be a little bit better entry for Cardinal Health. This is a cannabis industry related real estate company, not doing very well. Uber has very good metrics, financial metrics, but just going sideways at the moment. That could go either way. That could go down or up, so that's kind of a watch. AT&T showing some relative strength, actually made a new high today. So that's one to consider. That's pretty tight range. DoorDash, right, home delivery, just gap down and closed down today, so that's in more of a downtrend. Curiosity Stream, which is like a newer, kind of more of a focused streaming service. I believe it's more of like a information streaming, where it's more of like a documentary type streaming service, but kind of hanging around the 20 and 50-day moving average at this time. It's in a little bit of a downtrend here over the past 2 weeks, but if that could turn around, that would be a positive for that company. Again, consumer staples showing some strength. CVS company showing some real strength. That's one that I currently own. Today was a gap down, reversed, made a new high, and closed kind of in between. So that's a little bit of a relative strength, making new high. I like CVS right here. Again, gold miners. I currently own this ETF. Again, today the market tried to shake out people that own gold miners. This a gap down, reverse, close green, and that's still showing some relative strength for gold miners. Celsius company I like. Again, it's shown some relative strength. Made a new high yesterday. Today it gapped down and still closed green, right? When most everything else was gapped down, made new lows. So relative strength in Celsius. Comstock Resources related to oil and gas. This is one I'm also in. Yesterday made a new high, and today gapped down, reversed, and closed above all the moving averages. So that's one I really like in the oil and gas space. Here's one in insurance I really like, HCI, relative strength, smooth pullback, and today gap down reversal bar. So I like this over today's high, over 149.10. I like HCI, Homeowners Choice Insurance. This one I closed today because it gapped down, stopped me out. So that's one I was in that I took a loss on. And Antero Resources I liked in the oil and gas space until today on this gap down red. So that was also closed today. So that's about it for now. As a quick update on the stock market. Again, if you'd like to find stocks that are outperforming the market, there's several ways to do that. Create a watch list for yourself, right? So I've got several watch lists that I watch. You could watch the ETFs and see which industries are performing, which industries are not. You can create a list of individual stocks for yourself. You can go to on most every platform now has some sort of heat map like this. Okay, and then you can just click on these heat maps. They'll usually give you a list of stocks, right? And then you can just kind of look over that list. It'll usually sort it for you by alpha, which is a measure of how much a stock has risen or fallen over a 1-year period. Higher alpha is considered a stronger performance. You can also look at new 52-week highs. That's a great list to look at. Let's do that too. Let's look at on the side here. We can look at there's several lists on here. There's the top 100 stocks, which is an interesting list to look at. You can make your own screeners here. We can also look at industries. But two other lists I really like are, there's a gap up list, but I like this 5-day gainer list too. This is an interesting list. These are stocks that have done well in the last 5 days. Okay, so you can see that one kind of went up. It's a little bit too much. It's too late to get involved in that. There's one. There's one, and then you just go through these and you just look at the charts and you say, okay, this is McKesson Corp, large healthcare company. You have this tight range, and then a breakout. So this would have been a buyable breakout over this area. Now this is not a cheap stock, so that breakout would have been around 679, 680, and now it's at 716. So that's kind of too late to get involved, and that's not a cheap stock. But so there's several different lists you can use right here on these platforms that are very helpful, right? You can look at something like that. There is also sectors, heat maps. There's another one that's fairly helpful. New highs and lows. This is a good list to look at. If stocks are making new 52-week highs, that's generally considered a big plus, especially in this environment. Here's one that's well-established company, Albertsons. They own several different grocery chains, but you can see it's just kind of in this near-term uptrend, right? It's showing a lot of relative strength. So that's how I find these stocks using these tools. I hope that helps you guys out. Hopefully at least keeps you out of trouble. Again, I'm Phil at the Laptop Trader. You're welcome to watch, like, subscribe, and share this channel with anybody that can help or you think it would help. And that's it. I will try to make another video this weekend. Let's see what happens here for the end of the week. And maybe the stock market will turn around this week. Maybe it won't, but we'll find out either way. Thanks for watching. Bye.